Hello and welcome to the first of our Card and Cuppas for May 2025. My name is Fiona Whitten, and the Card and Cuppa is something that I hold twice a month on the first and third Wednesday of the month. And we've been doing this now for, 6-7 years, something like that. So this morning we had the in-person event. And this afternoon I've come live here on Facebook. So you could be watching me on Facebook, or you could actually be watching me on YouTube, because this video will actually be put onto my YouTube channel, because Facebook no longer allow us to keep videos on here for more than 30 days. So it's just a good thing that I have a YouTube channel, so I can just put them on there, and then they're there for whenever you want to go and have a quick look. So today we made, this was the card that I took with me to share. So we had a lot of fun. I had actually already cheated because I had stamped and die cut out these balloon shapes. In fact, there's actually quite a few images that came with that. So so that was the card that I took as my sample. This is one of the kits. So this is the kit that I got left for me to use this afternoon. So I have an envelope. I have a base card, which is Lost Lagoon, which is a Stampin' Up colour. So that's that. I have a piece of crushed curry, and then 2 pieces of white cardstock, one to go on the inside and one that we're going to stamp on. And then, as I said, I had already stamped and die cut these. So this stamp set came from Pink Fresh, and it's one that I received as part of a class that I did in February. So I thought we would make use of that today in the Card and Cuppa. So we had that, and then what was left of the paper I cut into strips so that they can be used to decorate the inside of the card or the envelope. There were a couple of little die cuts that were left over. So we've got a parcel, and then we've got a flower, another flower, and there should be another one, but it seems to have gone AWOL. It's probably still in the envelope, actually. Let's see. Oh, yep, it is. I could just see it then. So there's another one here. So for this card, I didn't actually use the flowers and things. So I think it makes a great masculine card. This was one that I made this afternoon because I stamped this background this morning to show people what we were going to be making and how to make it. And this one I've actually added the flowers, and I've also added some embellishments. So this background is actually all one stamp. And I'll show you in 2 seconds as to how we go about using that. So that was, as I said, that was this morning's, and I had my piece of paper on the inside and on the envelope, and then I've made up that other second sample. And what I did on here is I actually cut down that larger piece of white because I didn't want all the pinks on here. So I cut this down so that the pinks weren't actually going to be on there. Right then, so without further ado, so the stamp I'm using is an old Stampin' Up one. But if you have background stamp, that's great. You can use whatever you want. Obviously, this is just to give you an idea of what you can do. So this morning, I took my stamping platform, and I had pre-marked on the grid paper corners. So I actually marked 3. And then the idea was that everybody put their smaller piece of white within those three corners, like so. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use a fresh one. So I've remarked the corners on a fresh piece of grid paper. So that will go in here. Normally you would use a magnet, and these ones you have to slide off here, but oops, and they're really strong. There we go. So you would put a magnet on here to hold the paper in place. So I would normally put it like here, but the problem is because this is one solid stamp, it's not practical to do that. So we didn't bother with the magnet, and we kind of winged it. But what I'm actually going to use, I'm going to cheat a little bit. So I've got some removable adhesive tape. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on the back, and then I know that this is not likely to move around. So I'm going to put that there, like so. That's on there. Now I've found that if you use an ink pad certainly under this lid for this stamping platform, and there are lots of stamping platforms out there, so some of you may already have one, some of you are thinking about it, so really it's up to you as to which one you get. They are, I think they do make life a lot simpler. Now I had 3 colours on that card. Oops, that's all the same. So we've got, this is Soft Sea Foam, Lost Lagoon, and then that's Crushed Curry. So 2 of the colours tie in with the cardstock, and then the 3rd one ties in with the colours on the balloons. So these balloons that I've got this time around are slightly different, but I'm going to keep with those 3 colours because that's what we had this morning. So I'm going to start with the lighter colour. And it's really just a case of dragging it or placing it onto your stamp. Oops, I need to lock that into place. So if you drag it across, let's see if I'll do it that way. That's it, that's better. So you want to drag it over. Try and make sure you've got it all on there. So start with your lightest colour. This may end up having lines on it, we'll have to see. And then go with the yellow. And you really want to avoid getting the yellow into the green or into the blue, which isn't on there yet, because you don't really want to contaminate your ink pads. And then last but not least, I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon ink. So this is going to go sort of in this area here. I'm just going to drag it over here. Oops. Like so. I don't really want it to, as I said, I don't really want lines, but let's see how that looks. If you find that once you've stamped it, it's looking a bit dry, this is going to sound silly and I'm going to make these funny noises, you want to huff on it, and that reactivates the moisture from your breath will reactivate the ink. So I'm going to close this over like so, and then I want to make sure that this is firmly pressed down onto that white. Now my friend Trisha very kindly gave me one of these for birthday, I want to say, but it actually could have been Christmas one year. And it's a godsend because it means that you can make sure that you have plenty of force going down on here without bashing it with your hands. Now, put that back over there and lift this up. And yeah, no, that's okay. I'm okay with that. So that's what. So I've got a bit of a line here, but you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. So this will get glued onto this yellow to the crushed curry panel, like so. But before I do that, I'm going to check the placement of my balloons, see where I want to put them. The idea is to just cover up the white circle, and that can, there's so many balloons in here, you can do that pretty well just by, as I said, putting these on. So I think I'm actually going to put on, see, I do like it with the yellow up rather than the, I think I'm going to do it like that. So I have space there to put a sentiment. If I wanted to use the happy birthday, I'd have to do, and I've only got it on one long stamp, I'd have to do the happy, clean it, and then do the birthday bit, but I'm not going to do that. I do have some other sentiments here, and I've got one that says just for you, which I think would look quite good on that. So I'm going to put that onto a block. I'm going to leave that on there simply because I can then see where exactly I can put that just for you. So I want to put it in here, and I'm just going to stamp that in black. So I'm just going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. Just ink that up. Make sure the rest of it is clean. And then I'm just going to stamp that here, like so. So that's good. And then, so I want to, this has got that temporary adhesive. I was going to use some permanent adhesive now. The temporary stuff will actually rub off. But I'm just going to leave it on there. I'm not too bothered about it. You're not going to see it. So that's going to go on there like that. Okay. That's then going to go on your card front, and just checking which way round it is. Sometimes I cut it and there's a bit of a lip, which there is slightly here, so the front's slightly bigger than the back, which is fine. That's how it should be. So again, I'm going to put some glue. You can put dimensionals, foam pads if you want to on here. It's really up to you. It depends on whether you're posting them or not. If you're not posting it, then go for it. Add as much dimension as you want to with the foam pads. If you are posting it, then you probably want to be a bit more sparse with them, because you do want to put the balloons on with some foam pads. So that's going to have some foam pads on it. That's just the reverse of the paper. Someone said that from the back it kind of looks like octopuses. I actually thought it kind of looked like squids, but hey. Get some foam pads. Need some large ones, because I don't really want to be spending all afternoon sticking little ones on. Well, there are some little ones there. Trying to make use of all my bits. from the edges, so maybe I'll just do that. I'll just put one bit on there. This isn't going to be enough, just those little bits, so I'll have to put some more on. Now you can, if you want to, cut your foam pads so that you've got enough for strips to put on here, but I decided just to leave mine loose. But these little foam pads do fit in sort of spaces like that, so I'm just going to use them on those, and that might just fit in there, but I'm not going to cut anymore. Right, so I don't normally put this many on, but seeing as they're all bits, with the exception of a few, then I'm quite happy to do that. Right, that's that. Yep, they're all gone. I'm not quite sure what that was from. So again, I'm going to place this on here somewhere that I want it to be, like that. So these are loose, that bit's not, but that bit is. So I'm going to leave that like that. Quite happy with that. Move those bits out of the way. So that can go up there. Now I've got my larger piece of white and my envelope. Now this is what I was saying, I cut this down by a centimetre top and bottom, because I didn't really want to introduce the pink to the piece on the inside. So I have got my trimmer. So I'm just going to quickly cut off a centimetre from the width, like that, and also from the height. Oh, that's the width and that was the height now. So it's that little bit smaller, so that when I put this on, you can see there'll be hardly any pink. So it'll just be the blues, the greens and the yellows, which is kind of what I want. So I put it on here so that I know that there's no pink at the top, and I know there'll be very little at the bottom. So, like that. And then simply cut off the excess. I mean, I've chosen to use 3 colours to stamp that, the ray. But if you only want to use 1, that's totally fine. It's really, or if you don't have that sort of something similar, then any sort of background will do. Maybe not puppy dogs and cats, but you know, if you've got sort of a balloon one or just stripes. So that's got just for you. I think I might actually put happy birthday on the inside. Let's just see. Yeah, that will work. I'm just putting it on my thing just to rest for a second before I pick it up. And I've got my black. Now I could use any of the colours that I've used on the front, but I thought I'd stick with black. I do not want to put that in the ink. Let's see now. Hopefully that's straight. Can I see? Probably go for it. So that's the inside of the card done, that's the outside of the card. I think I might just keep this for a mail card. I know it's got sort of leaves and stuff on, but we can get away with that. I'm not going to fussy it up by putting on the flowers like this one. So I'm just going to leave that plain. And then I have the envelope to do. Let's put the lid on that black ink before I end up putting something on it, as I am prone to do. This one, because the envelope is not as tall, should simply be able to put that on like so. It's not going to be long enough to go along the bottom because this was cut from 6x6 paper. And the envelope is slightly longer. You will see, just slightly, by about a centimetre. So if you have 12x12 paper, you can go put your paper along the bottom. If you have 6x6, you're going to have to put it up and along the side. So, right, so that's that. I think I might put some embellishments on. Question is what? Now I did have somewhere some gold pen, a gold pen, a jelly pen. No idea where I've put it. Probably with all the other pens that have disappeared. Let's see. Not there. I found the gold. So, just going to, rather than putting some embellishments on, I'm just going to draw dots. They can be quite big. It's the nice thing about the pen, using the pens. I'm deliberately not going into the leaves and the flowers because I don't really want to make it look too pretty. I think I might put 3 here. Would help to be able to put it into a straight line, but hey. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7, that's fine. It's an odd number. So there we go. So that's my card from this afternoon. Hopefully you can see that here. Quick, simple. Except for the stamping and the die cutting. That's kind of time consuming. But hey, I think it's worth it. Hope you've enjoyed seeing that. So next week, Monday, we've got Craft and Chat. And then 2 weeks today, we have the second of our Card and Cuppas for May. So, so I hope you enjoyed seeing that. Please feel free to leave a comment. It would be lovely to hear from you. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.